to order the City of Cottonwood Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting, Monday, March 16, 2026 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Present.
Commissioner Camelo?
Present.
Commissioner Garrison?
Present.
Commissioner Glasscott?
Present.
Commissioner Hellman?
Here.
Vice Chairman Rothrock?
Here.
Chairwoman Maxton?
Present. Our first order of business is the election of a new chair and vice chair. Both are elected by a vote of membership. We will vote to elect the vice chair first, then the chair. The vice chair is traditionally responsible for making the motions for agenda items, including new motions added by the commission during the meeting, and serving in the chair's place if the chair is absent. The chair is responsible for running orderly, effective meetings per legal requirements and additional pre-agenda review meetings. Would any of the commissioners like to nominate themselves or another commissioner for the position of vice chair? I would like to nominate Commissioner Camilla. Commissioner Camilla, do you consent to this nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Camilla has been nominated for the position of vice chair. Are there any further nominations? Yes.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Garrison.
Commissioner Garrison, do you consent to this nomination?
No. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garrison. Are there any further nominations? All right. I am closing the nominations for vice chair. Is there any discussion? I don't see any discussion. I am closing discussion for vice chair, and we are now voting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Vice Chair Camilla. That will begin next meeting. Now we have to elect the chair. If any commissioners would like to nominate themselves or another commissioner for the position of chair, now is the time. I would like to nominate Commissioner Garrison for chair.
Thank you.
Commissioner Garrison, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are there any other nominations for chair? No one else is coming forward. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimously carried. Congratulations, Mr. Chair. That will begin next meeting. Ta-da! And as a little bookkeeping, I am going to let my participation in the commission end at the natural end of my term, which is in April. Next order of business are informational reports and updates from staff. For this, we are welcoming a new community development director, Sammy Rial. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We're happy to have you. It's the smaller button at the bottom.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. I do have a few announcements for the Planning and Zoning Commission. The first is that the subdivision ordinance amendment that you previously heard on prior to March 3rd was approved by the City Council on March 3rd and will be effective on April 2nd. And then the design standards that you also previously heard are being presented to the City Council tomorrow on March 17th. And if they are adopted and approved, they will become effective on April 17th. And then lastly, there was a conditional use permit that was approved by the Commission on January 26th for the Vortex ATV UTV rental. That application, the approval of it, was appealed, and it is scheduled to be heard by the City Council at tomorrow's meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director, or Mrs. Director, I'm so sorry. That is a real old habit. Don't worry, I'll be gone soon. Now we have call to the public. If anyone from the public who's present tonight would like to address the commission on any planning and zoning related item that was not on this evening's agenda, this is your opportunity. If you would like to speak, you must fill out one of the forms located near the door. Speakers will be granted 3 minutes each. Note that there was a typo in the printed agenda, and speaker time is 3 minutes and not 5 minutes. Would anyone like to come forward? I am not seeing any movement from the public, so we are going to move on. We have 5 items of new business tonight. Items 1, 2, and 3 are being presented together, but there will be 3 separate motions voted by the commission.
Chair, just a
Oh.
moment, if you may. Did you guys do approval of minutes?
Did I? No. I apologize. I got so excited about the vote that I missed the approval of minutes. Second order of business, which I skipped, is to approve the minutes for the meeting held Monday, January 26, 2026. Do any of the commissioners have any corrections or additions to the minutes? I do not see any additions or corrections. I move to approve the January 26, 2026 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rothrock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously carried. Thank you, council. That was very helpful. Now to items 1, 2, and 3, the first of which is GP-26-001, request for a minor general plan amendment to change the land use designation from PLD to HR.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commission. I'm Tina Hayden, Senior Planner for City of Cottonwood. I will be presenting items 1 through 3 in one presentation here. We will need separate motions for each of the individual items. So we have a concurrent general plan amendment, zone change, and design review request. So just a breakdown of those requests. The general plan amendment is a request for a recommendation of approval to council to change the land use designation from PLD, planned development, to HR, high-density residential. The next request is for zone change, another recommendation of approval to council for the zone change from R1, single-family residential, to R3, multiple-family residential. The last request is design review approval of the site plan and building design for an 18-unit apartment complex. We ask that you consider the applicant's submittal, staff reports with recommended findings and stipulations, and this is a public hearing process for the general plan amendment and for the zone change process. First, I'll break down the vicinity. This is our subject site here. I'd like to note the north arrow here, the location of the roundabout of Willard and Mingus Avenue. All this light tan colored here is R1 zoning for single-family residential, so you can see it to the north here, east and south. And then this darker brown here is PAD, planned area development. There is multifamily residential currently here. To the south and east is one parcel with a church campus on site. To the north is vacant land. Going into our details, this is 1.14 acres. Applicant is proposing 18 dwelling units. They do propose sufficient screening for the south and east adjacencies to the R1 zoning district. They are proposing two-way access points on Dominguez Avenue. One is existing with the multifamily development here. They are proposing one right hereabouts. For the general plan amendment and the zone change, state law indicates a requirement for a rezoning ordinance to conform with the land use element of the general plan of the municipality. At this point, the land use designation is PLD, which does not conform to a zone change to R3. The next slide has some additional justifications regarding that general plan amendment. Last item here is to date, there's been no concerns from adjacent property owners. Because of a zone change, the applicant was required to hold a neighborhood meeting 30 days prior to this hearing. Notifications were sent out to owners of property within 300 feet for that neighborhood meeting, as well as this public hearing and the consecutive council hearing next month. Regarding the general plan amendment, the proposed land use designation change is supported by the following general plan objectives. The first one is objective 1.5 regarding mixed use for both medium and high density residential and neighborhood designations. General plan says that we should locate multifamily residential uses adjacent to NC neighborhood commercial designations and multimodal service areas. Staff's analysis, the parcel is located within a quarter mile of educational, recreational, health, and transit facilities. The second justification is Objective 2.1 regarding infill growth area 3, the Clemenceau growth area. This just included multifamily residential development as part of the plan, which would require a zone change to PAD or R3 zoning district. Staff's analysis, the proposed 18 dwelling unit apartment is part of that Clemenceau growth area, and the proposed use aligns with the planned uses. The current R1 zoning would constrain development to a maximum of 6 single-family residences. Since this is a design review application as well, I have the site plans and other development proposals here for review. Again, noting the north arrow here, we have Mingus Avenue here, right, just breaking down the site for you. This is that existing access point that's adjacent to the apartments here. This is the new proposed access point. Applicant proposed 3 identical sixplexes here, here, and here, with sufficient parking all throughout, trash enclosure, and then on the next plan, we'll look at the landscaping here. Applicant meets the requirements for a 10-foot landscape yard along the street frontage. They have a 6-foot tall CMU block wall for buffering between the R1 zoning to the east there, and then they have a 10-foot landscape yard for buffering to the south. Applicant has provided some elevations for us. They do indicate a maximum height of 25 feet, but did want to point out that these elevations are the same for each of the 3 buildings, where the north elevation will be facing Mingus for all 3 buildings. Here's the renderings the applicant has provided. So in the top, these 3 renderings, you can see where that front, that north elevation is going to be facing Mingus. Now looking at adjacent properties and streets, again, just note my north arrow here, it will help you orient yourself. This is looking westward at the adjacent apartment complex there. You can also see Mingus Avenue. The vacant land to the north, they didn't indicate in photos as adjacent just because it's vacant. There's not much to see there. And then this bottom right photo here, we can see Mingus Avenue. We're looking towards that Willard and Mingus roundabout. And you can see the adjacent church property here. Now looking at the subject site, we've got Mingus to our side and rear here. You can see the adjacent church property here, as well as the access point to the multifamily residential. Here we're looking southeastward. Again, you can see the multifamily there, site here, and church building there. If Commission desires to approve this design review, staff proposes 6 stipulations. They're indicated in the staff report. I'll just summarize the stipulations for you. First one is that the project is developed in conformance to what's reviewed at tonight's meeting. Second is that the project conforms to the code review comment letter that was provided to them. Third stipulation, the project complies with all applicable sections of the zoning ordinance. Stipulation 4 does indicate the requirement for the parcel to be zoned to the R3 zoning district, and that ordinance has to be in effect prior to the issuance of building permits. Stipulation 5, just indicating that lighting and signage is for reference purposes only. And stipulation 6 is that a building permit application is required to be submitted and diligently pursued within 24 months of approval. Again, the general plan amendment and zone change are public hearing items. I do have myself and the applicant here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Tina. Do any of the commissioners have questions for city staff regarding the general plan amendment as it's been presented? Please go ahead, Vice Chair.
We're presently have an R1 zoning there, correct?
That's correct.
At what level is an R2 zoning?
R2 typically allows for multifamily residential ranging from 6 to 11 units per acre.
So this is being zoned R3 because it's more than that many units.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions for staff from the commission? All right, I'm not seeing any further questions from staff. This is a public hearing, so if there is anyone here from the public who would like to speak regarding this proposed change, now is the time. If you would like to come forward, please speak your name into the record, and there is a little sheet that you should fill out. Is anyone here to come forward regarding this proposed general plan amendment? I am not seeing anyone come forward, so I am closing the floor to the public. Oh, here we go. You need to speak into the microphone for the record. Thank you for asking.
I will when the public
Yes, my name is Jackie Val.
Yes?
I'm not real good at this, so bear with me, please. We have at the adjacent apartments for the senior living, and a lot of us do have concerns with this going up, because a lot of us are handicapped, and it's just right there next to us with families and children. So, and it's not zoned for that currently. Am I correct in that assumption?
Policy for meetings is that we don't have back and forth questioning. This is really your opportunity to air your concerns.
Okay. Us at the Highland Square Apartments, us residents are opposed to having this there. We feel that it would cause problems for us as we're walking around in walkers and canes and scooters and stuff, and the noise that it would bring, and some other concerns. So what do we need to do? What's the procedures that we need to do to kind of find out more about this not going in?
So just to reiterate, this is not a question and answer period. However, as general information for the audience, the purpose of these public hearings is so that concerned citizens can convey their opinions about projects and potential changes, and that is what we're doing now. So if anyone else has concerns or opinions that they would like to share as part of the public hearing, now is the time. And then potentially the applicant can address some of those when they come forward and when the commission asks them questions.
Okay, so I just say I'm opposed to it? Okay, all righty then. Thank you for it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on this? Yes, ma'am. Make sure that you speak your name into the record.
Yes, my name is Kirby Griggs, and I live in the same place she does. It's mainly for seniors and low-income seniors and people who are disabled. And the problem here is that if there's a lot of families there with young kids making a lot of noise, it's going to be a problem for us, because there's some people who are doing very well on the physical level, and we have enough noise as it is with helicopters and all that stuff. Also, we have problems with people walking through the property. We're worried about more people coming through the property and trying to keep them away. With the traffic, that's another consideration. It's going to make more traffic in the area, and it's a very high traffic area now. So that's basically my concern with this area.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak regarding this potential general plan amendment? I am not seeing anyone come forward. Last chance to come forward. Yes.
my name is Paula Williams, and I also live at Highland Square, and we've been there for 9 years. And we are concerned about the traffic, which is increased. People are speeding down Mingus all the time, and what else? Just that there's so much going on there now that I think families need to be aware of what's around them. You can't let your kids out on the street to play. And we do have a lot of people, like you had just heard, going through the property itself. So we're concerned about that also. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during this public hearing? Yes, please come forward and speak your name into the record, sir.
My name is Zach Bednar, and I am the owner and developer of the property.
We will have you come up formally in just a moment.
Okay.
Did you want to speak separately as a concerned citizen who
No,
locally
I'll
resides
come
here?
up later.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on this proposed general plan amendment change? I'm not seeing anyone, so at this time, I'm closing the floor to the public. I probably should not have let that gentleman go sit down. However, now we would like to have the applicant come forward and answer questions for the commission. Before we ask questions, if you have a few words you'd like to share about your project, some context, that is always helpful. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so this is, it's multifamily, but it's also workforce. I think their concerns are valid, but also, it's a complete assumption about the noise and what could potentially be going on. There's going to be curb, gutter, sidewalk, so walking shouldn't be an issue there. This is Michael.
I'm Michael Baird. I'm part of the project team as well.
Please say that into the microphone for the record.
I'm Michael Baird. I'm part of the project team as well. I'm the civil engineer and helping with the management as well.
All right. So I assume that the commission can ask you both questions.
Yes.
All right. At this time, I'm going to open the floor for the commission to ask the applicant representatives questions. We will begin with Commissioner Garrison.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't have any questions about the project itself. I guess to get to some of the concerns from the public that got up and spoke is, this doesn't really look like a child-friendly development. I don't expect that you're expecting to have a lot of families in this unit, or is that a demographic that you do think you're gonna have? Because I don't see any facilities really that lend themselves to, yards and all that.
Yeah, and it's workforce housing. They're only 2-bedroom apartments, so we don't expect many big families, coming in. We don't know what to expect on who's really gonna come rent them, but yeah.
And one other concern I had when I was looking through it, there's only 2 handicap spaces in this whole development, and I don't know if you've been to the grocery store lately, but about half the cars there have a handicap plate. So it seems like that may have to be bumped up. Although I guess, what you have on site is expected to be your living period. And so even the difference between a handicap space and a regular isn't extreme, especially distance-wise from the units. So maybe that would be adequate. That was the only thing that kind of caught my eye out of all this.
And the 2 ADA stalls does meet local code as well.
I kind of figured that. Typically it just isn't going to be sufficient. That was my only concern. But like I said, none of the spaces are very much further from any of the units than any other ones. So maybe that won't be so much of an issue as I'm making it out to be. Thank you.
Commissioner Camilla, do you have any questions for the applicants?
And I don't know if this is possible, but the entrance, not the one in the middle, the one on the side, that's an existing entrance, right?
Correct.
Is there a way to either do a landscape buffer or something to buffer that, to keep that more separate from the senior adult living? Is that-
So part of the plan is to complete, right now it's just an edge of pavement with gravel
Okay.
on the current property. Part of the plan is to install new curb, gutter, and sidewalk along that edge and all the way around and tie into the existing curb. We do have landscaping, trees, and what have you in that area. There is one area that we can't landscape. There's a three-way joint access to the church, and they have a fence back there, so we need to leave enough room for them to drive through there.
Yeah, I just was trying to see how that entrance is gonna be in between them, so as long as it'll have some separation, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Glasscott on Zoom, do you have any questions for the applicants?
No questions at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hellman, do you have questions at this time?
Well, so from what I read in the packet, the apartments are only 900 some square feet, right? They're pretty small, so not really suited for families. Workforce housing, yes, or senior housing even possibly, so,
Correct.
yeah. Is that how you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Candidate, do you have any questions for the applicants?
Not for the applicants,
For staff?
for staff.
We'll call them up in just a moment.
Okay.
Vice Chair Rothrock, do you have any questions for the applicants?
Yeah, I'm curious about, you have people already living on 3 sides of the property, correct?
One,
The,
just the housing that they're in.
yeah, the property to the south and to the east is the church property.
Yes, but what about to the west?
To the west is the large apartment complex that the folks here reside in.
Okay, then to the east, those folks there, are they,
So
well, what I'm curious about is, there's plenty of people living in there now. There's people living on 3 sides.
Well, there's actually only people living on one side. It's just the people to the west where they reside. And then to the east is the church. And then the church is also, yeah, the parking lot. And then the church is also behind it. It kind of wraps around it.
Wraps around the church?
Yeah,
Yes.
the church's property is kind of an L shape.
Yeah.
So the church borders the eastern property boundary of this piece of property.
Could we pull up the site plan?
That might be helpful.
Yeah.
Or if you show the site plan, not the landscape plan, I'm so sorry.
Either one.
Yeah, here you can really see those, so there you can see the.
Yeah, so you can see the Highland Square Senior Apartments to the west, and then the church wraps around the east and the south.
Yeah, so there's a church building right here. There's an abandoned field here, and then church parking lot to the west.
Okay. And then there's people living behind the property on Ash Drive, right?
The only people living adjacent to this piece of property is the Highland Square Senior Apartment Complex right here.
I think you're thinking further west.
Yeah? So the church is still going to be there?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't, from what I got in the packet, I couldn't put all that together. All righty, thank you.
Thank you. I do not have any questions at this stage in the project. Just so everyone knows, because we have 2 public hearings, we will have a second public hearing. So with that, this is a little awkward. Do I just move into the next public hearing? Tina, council?
Chair, since you've combined the items, you're welcome to continue the public hearing.
Excellent.
Cover them all.
All right, at this point, we are now in the public hearing for Z-26-001, request for zone change from R1 to R3. At this point, I am going to give the public one last opportunity. If anyone else would like to come forward, this is an opportunity for new people or new points of view. Only if you have something new to add. Yes, please don't speak from the gallery, just because it doesn't go on the record. If anyone would like to come forward, now is the opportunity. Otherwise, I'm going to ask staff to come back so commissioners can ask further questions. All right, we have one person coming from the gallery. You have 3 minutes.
Won't be that long. Hi, I'm Paula Williams again. After seeing this, I'm kind of concerned with the driveway itself. And I understand that that is their property, but that's the driveway that we come into also. So there'll be, looks like there'll be more traffic just coming from the street to both properties. And the fact that at night we have javelinas going through, and we have a lot of transients because we don't have any gates or anything at Highland Square. And sometimes people will use the driveway as an easement to come through instead of going to the end of Candy Lane and making a right. They'll cut through the parking lot. Well, this shows that we're all going to be using the same driveway now. So now I'm just concerned about that. Is there another driveway here to the right? In between their two buildings? I'm sorry, I don't know how to read this. Oh. I don't know what else to add. I don't want to cut them off, but I personally don't think after all these years that this would fit into where we are. There's not really that much space between our apartment complex and the church. And then we've got the school behind it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to come forward for the zone change? All right, I'm not seeing anyone come forward. Could I ask city staff to come forward? Oh, I apologize. You guys are quite sneaky.
I'm slow. I have a concern also for the matter that we have the Christian Academy School would be right behind their buildings. And there's kids that go there every day during the school week. My other concern is some of our residents at the Highland have a lot of mental stress and mental problems. I foresee maybe that might be a problem also. I just think this needs to be thought about more. I normally wouldn't be against this, but I just feel it's not a good thing. So that's my opinion. There's some pros, but there's a lot of cons on this too for myself, as far as parking, people. There's always wrecks right there, a traffic jam trying to get in that entrance right there, as well as Candy Lane. So I see that would propose more problems also. So I would like that to be considered, if that is all possible. And I take it we will have another hearing, and this is just on the zoning for this right now.
So this public hearing, and this is informational for the gallery, this public hearing is for the zoning in particular, because there are two public hearings required. One was for the general plan amendment and one is for the zoning. However, this entire presentation as a whole is for agenda items 1, 2, and 3. So that includes the general plan amendment that we just talked about, the request for a zone change that we're speaking about now, and the design review consideration for the apartments themselves. So
Okay.
this is the whole thing.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak in this public hearing? All right, thank you very much. I am closing the floor to the public. At this time, I would like to have staff come forward so that commission has an opportunity to ask any clarifying questions that they may have about the project. Commission, do you have questions for staff?
I do.
Yes, please go ahead, Commissioner Canaday.
What is the difference between the residential 3 and the planned area development density? I know I saw it in here somewhere, but I couldn't find it again.
Thank you for that, Chair Maston, Commissioner Kennedy. The planned area development is PAD zoning. It's typically associated with a master development plan where the applicant developer would suggest their own development standards as, as differs from what's in the zoning ordinance. And that goes through the commission, for hearing, and then to council for hearing and possible adoption.
And is there an existing development plan for the area on the other side of Mingus?
For the Highland Square Senior Apartments?
No, on the north side of Mingus.
So regarding the land use designation, which is PLD plan development, it supports a zone change to PAD. The property to the north has a land use designation of PLD. This property as well has a land use, currently has that land use designation of PLD.
Okay. And is there a turn lane on Mingus there?
From what I recall, because I've driven this recently, no, I believe it's just
The turn
2
lane,
lane.
is it Candy Lane? Okay.
I believe so.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff from the commission? I'm not seeing other questions for staff. Really quick, amongst the commission, are there any other questions that you would like to ask of the applicants? Make eye contact with me if there are. Commissioner Glasscott on Zoom, are there any further questions that you have?
No, not at this time.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Glasscott. At this time, we are going to have a final discussion regarding all 3 of these agenda items. This will be the commission's chance to share their thoughts and opinions about this project prior to the vote, and then we are going to vote on each of the 3 agenda items in order, beginning with the general plan amendment, and then the zone change, and then the design review approval. I open the floor to the commission to discuss. Thoughts that you would like to share, Commissioner Garrison?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll share my opinion. I think, personally, this is a great use of this space. I remember it wasn't that long ago, we had a developer come forward with a rather large multifamily development plan for the land across the street. And I believe this space was designed or designated to be storage, and I wasn't a fan of that. I think this will be once again, I think it'll be a great use of the space. I do appreciate when we have the public, especially the public that lives next to the property, come in and talk about a project, but I was part of the discussions and decisions that happened to allow that facility to be built, and the questions and the concerns and the fears were basically exactly the same when that unit was built as the ones we're looking at now. It's going to change traffic patterns a little. That's just growth. It's open space. It's surrounded by 2 schools and a church. We thought for a long time that this would become an extension of Highland Square, and they would go in and build another sister facility or 2, and that obviously has never happened. The shared driveway is just part of when you have limited amount of space and you're required to put in the driveways, and it was always expected to be a shared use driveway, which is why it was designed the way it was on the property line. So I understand their concerns. I understand what they think will be an impact to them. I don't believe it will be as bad as what I think they think it will be, but we do need the housing. I think this will be appropriate for the area and definitely needed for our workforce at the moment. So I'm in favor of it moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Camilla, do you have thoughts you'd like to share regarding this project?
Yeah, I echo a lot of Commissioner Garrison's thoughts on use of the space. Looking at the design, I think it fits right in. It looks really good. And the compatibility, a lot of R3 is around there. This makes it compatible with the area. So it's compatible with the area, and, will it increase traffic with it? Yes. But I think it'll fit good in that space to get the workforce housing for the community, which is what we need here, in my opinion.
Commissioner Glasscott, do you have any thoughts that you would like to share at this time?
No, I'm in agreement with the other two gentlemen, and I do appreciate the public's input, and I just think it's a good use of the infill there, as well as I think it's a necessary project to get some what I would deem potentially affordable housing for people that are going to be working in the area, which is desperately needed, especially downtown.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Glasscott. Commissioner Hellman, do you have thoughts on this project?
I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Canaday?
I really don't have any additional comments. I think they've covered it all.
Vice Chair Rothrock, would you like to share your thoughts?
I'm still not clear on what's happening down on the north side of these property lines that I see. I see one of the housing units. I see a dead-end road, and I'm wondering what life is going to be like for those people who are living on the north side. Are they going to have lights shining in their bedrooms? Are they going to have privacy? Are they going to, will there be a way for them to have emergency vehicles come in?
I'll go ahead and quickly address that to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Obviously, I can't speak for the applicant, but I can, in reading the site plan, I believe that the north is vacant at this time. That's all vacant land?
Excuse me. I was speaking about the south.
Oh.
The south side. My bad.
That is a field that's owned by the church.
And
Oh.
there's a CMU wall,
Yeah,
6-foot wall.
and a 6-foot wall.
Uh-huh. And what's the stuff that looks like cordwood on the far lower right?
That
Drainage?
is drainage, I
It's
believe.
all drainage?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's under the
well,
parking lot. Yeah.
I'm definitely in agreement that our community needs workforce housing, and if some of these things that have been addressed by the neighbors can be ameliorated, all the better.
Now for my 2 cents. I understand I really appreciate, first of all, the public coming forward as they did tonight to talk about their concerns. And I think it is so important that the public be involved in these hearings. And I know it can be frustrating when the vote doesn't go the way that people would like. And I can never predict how the vote is going to go, and I only have my own vote. But I will say in this case, I tend to agree with my fellow commissioners that the neighboring residents are not going to be as impacted in a negative way by this land use as they think that they are. In fact, I suspect it's going to improve their lives because the landscaping in particular and the development of new sidewalks is going to improve safety considerably. And for residents who need stable and consistent walking paths, who may use wheelchairs or canes, that's going to be a great asset And also, someone mentioned javelina and transients, so the development of this space is going to reduce both of those things and increase the general safety of the area. I also want to make a general comment about some of the concerns about family. The term multifamily in construction and development does not necessarily refer specifically to construction that is meant for large family uses. Multifamily is really just referring to townhomes, apartments, condominiums, different kinds of building uses where you have multiple people living together. And when you actually look at this site, what it is showing are only 18 units, and they are effectively designed as townhomes. It is not really a dense use at all. It's actually quite open, considerably more open than the Highland Apartments, if we are comparing the two next to each other. It is much less dense and much more like traditional housing. And for that reason, and the reason that I have been in favor of townhomes in Cottonwood for many years, I feel like this is a really good land use that will improve the lives of not only its future residents, but also its immediate neighbors. And I feel strongly that I am correct on that, and I hope that the neighbors come to see that soon. And with that, it is time to take a vote. I am ready for a motion. Vice Chair? Oh, I'll do it. I'm going to do the first motion, and we'll vote on that, and then the second motion, we'll vote on that, and the third motion, we'll vote on that, one after another. I move to recommend approval to Council for GP-26-001 to change the land use designation of the subject parcel from PLD, Plan Development, to HR, Residential High Density. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously carried. I move to recommend approval to Council for Z-26-001 for a zone change to the R3 multiple family residential zoning district. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Hellman? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously carried. I move to approve DR-25-022 for the 18-unit multifamily residential project presented today, subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimously carried. And with that, we are moving on to DR-26-001, consideration of design review approval for Two-Tailed Brewery.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commission, Tina Hayden again. Before I get started on this, I'd like to note that the address for this parcel indicated in the staff report and then on the agenda of 532 West Mingus is incorrect. It's 529 West Mingus Avenue. So all this design review proposal is for 529 West Mingus Avenue. Another fun fact, you'll notice that every project I'm presenting on is on Mingus Avenue. So tonight we are requesting approval of the site plan and building design modifications to existing development for a tasting room and brewery. The considerations would be the applicant's submittal and the staff report with stipulations. So another breakdown of the vicinity, the area highlighted in blue is the subject site. All of this pinkish red is C1, light commercial zoning district. The beige color here is R1, single family residential zoning. And then to the south, we have brown PAD, planned area development zoning. Note my north arrow here and Mingus Avenue as it's running over to State Route 89A. This parcel is a little under an acre in the C1 zoning district. Applicant, there are two existing access points on site. The west one here is just one-way exit only. The other one right hereabouts is a two-way access point. Applicant is providing additional buffering and screening along all parcel boundaries, as well as the prescribed 10-foot landscape yard along the street frontage. There is an existing monument sign located within 5 feet of the lot line that is non-conforming, and removal would be required. There is a stipulation indicating that requirement. Here's a breakdown of the site plan. Again, we'll just note the north arrow here. The landscape plan will be easier for you guys to see, so I'll show that later. But we have Mingus Avenue right here. We've got the one-way exit only here, two-way entrance point here. The existing building is right here. Applicant is proposing an outdoor patio here, and then that new taller metal building to the rear here, along with some loading area. There is existing asphalt here. Remainder of that would be gravel surfacing. Now looking at the landscape plan here, you'll notice the orientation shifted just a little, so north arrow is approximate here. This is that one-way exit only portion. This is the two-way access here. You can see a 10-foot landscape yard here and sufficient buffering and screening all alongside all property boundaries, as well as a detention basin here towards the front. Applicant provided us with some elevations. This is also a maximum height of 25 feet to peak here. This north elevation is what would be viewed from Mingus Avenue. We also have some colored renderings. I'll just point out that this is the view you'd see from Mingus Avenue. This is looking, I want to say, northwestward. Then again, this is looking southeastward. Then current site pictures here. This is adjacent properties and streets, although I will point out this is the subject site here, and that is that sign that I mentioned that needs to be removed. So we're looking towards the Willard roundabout in this top left photo on Mingus here. Really, you've got a lot of tree cover there that you're not seeing the adjacent lot there. Then on the bottom right here, you can see additional adjacent commercial, as well as I believe that's the Hampton Inn. And again, we're looking towards 89A here. Looking at our subject site photos, again, just note the north arrow to get your bearings here. This is that first eastern curb cut that will provide two-way access to the site. Right here, we have that western curb cut that will be for one-way exit only. If the commission desires to approve this design review, staff has 6 stipulations that they recommend. I'll just summarize them. Stipulation 1 is the project's developed in conformance to what's reviewed tonight. Stipulation 2, the project conforms to the Code Review Board comment letter given. Stipulation 3, the project complies with all applicable sections of the zoning ordinance. Stipulation 4, the existing monument sign shall be removed prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy. Stipulation 5, regarding lighting and signage, they're here for reference purposes only. And stipulation 6, the building permit application submittal within 24 months of this approval. That concludes my presentation. I'm here for any questions you have. I also have the applicant and property owner here as well to answer any questions. This isn't a public hearing item, but commission can open the floor if they deem fit.
Thank you very much, Tina. Do any of the commissioners have questions for city staff regarding this proposed project? Commissioner Garrison, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Camella, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Glasscott on Zoom, any questions?
No questions.
Commissioner Hellman, any questions?
I have a question about the exit, the one that is going to be a one-way exit. It's not going to be restricted to only right turn, correct?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Hellman. I will have to review the Code Review Board comment letters to see if the city engineer was going to restrict that. The only reason that it's indicated as a one-way, is due to this angled parking here. It wouldn't render itself appropriately, and also the dimension itself, if it was a two-way access, would require for 25-foot wide lane widths. That's the reason we're restricting that. I don't recall that left turn restriction was going to be put on this.
Thank you.
Commissioner Canaday, any questions for staff?
No questions.
Vice Chair Rothrock, any questions for staff?
Yeah, I want to thank whoever made the design plans for this one, because this was easy to follow.
That is true. I don't have any questions for staff. Thank you very much. Do we have anyone here from the public who would like to speak regarding this proposed project? I do not see anyone coming forward, so I am closing the floor to the public. If the applicant is present, we would like to have the applicant come up and say a few words about the project and answer questions. Please introduce yourself for the record and introduce the project.
Hello, my name is Adam Comstock. I am one of the owners. There's 4 of us in total. And we are just looking to open a tap room / brewery space for the community.
Commissioner Garrison, any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I've got a question. Reading through everything, it said that the primary use was going to be tap room.
Yes.
And secondary was production. And it would seem like those would be consistently high uses. And so are you expecting to make product off-site and bring it on-site and
No.
only do part of your production here? Or you're going to do all your production, everything on-site? Everything's in one space?
Yeah, we do not plan to distribute at all. It's just going to be for this facility only. So we don't really plan. If we do end up ever distributing in the future, it'll be self-distribution as opposed to setting up with some distribution company. So therefore, we'll probably really only, we're doing a 7-barrel system, so we'll probably brew beer like 2 or 3 days a week, and that should, support the volume of people that we expect, so.
All right, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Camilla, questions for the applicant?
No question. I do have, we can do comments after?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Glasscott, questions for the applicant?
No questions.
Commissioner Hellman, questions for the applicant?
Is this business already located there?
There is a building located there right now. It's the front building, but no.
But you're not in it yet?
No, we are not in it yet, no.
Okay.
No, we're constructing the building that we're going to produce the beer in behind the existing building, and that will have to go under construction, so.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Canaday, questions for the applicant?
So will you have a lot of semi-traffic when you're talking about production?
No,
No?
because we're not distributing, we will not have, we'll have ingredients, come through, but they'll be in like box trucks or just regular trucks, but that won't be any semi-traffic at all.
Okay.
Commissioner Rothrock, any questions for the applicant?
No questions.
I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you very much. This is your last opportunity to say something for the record.
Well, we hope to be invited to the community. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
all right. Thank you. All right. At this time, I am opening the floor for the commission to discuss and make comments on this project. Commissioner Garrison?
I think it's going to be a great addition in the neighborhood. That's always been a touchy corner. There has been residential in and out of that space. The last was commercial use, retail, and it worked really well. It's nice having things on that strip. I think you'll see the rest of, I think there's only one livable restaurant, residence left in there. I think you'll see that converted at some point. But being close to the hotel, it's a small business, which is great in our community. I think you've done some really creative things with the design. I couldn't quite figure out how you were going to do what you did until I looked at the elevations, and I really like the design. I think it's going to be a great addition to the street. It's going to be very eye-catching, which being on that corridor. It tends to go, as was stated by some of the ladies earlier, a little faster than probably is expected or appreciated on that stretch, so you will catch attention, but I think you're going to be a great addition to the neighborhood, and hope it goes well for you.
Commissioner Camilla, thoughts on this project?
You know, what jumped out at me was two-tailed. So I did a little research, and I was like, what's up with this? Well, the two-tailed butterfly is state of Arizona butterfly. Okay, it thrives in this area, on Verde River and in here. So, butterroll pollinates our plants. And then with that, the applicant's using existing landscaping, according to all the documents, native landscaping, which is going to keep that ecosystem going, but also providing a buffer between all the existing houses with those trees. Good use of the pie-shaped lot. Brew house will be in the back. Kind of not hidden, but not right out in front. Another good thing I like about this is the reuse of an existing structure. Bungalow-style structure, everything they're doing is bungalow-style. Fits in the areas. Nice patio out there with views. So I think it's going to be a good addition to the community, and I'm glad they worked on the design to fit Cottonwood and to fit the surrounding areas. So I think it'll be a good addition.
Thank you. Commissioner Glasscott, thoughts on this project?
Yeah, I agree with the other commissioners that have just shared that it's a great addition, especially the location, the proximity to the hotel, again, kind of feeding into downtown. It seems like a lot going in on Mingus, but it's growth, and I think it is going to be all good additions.
Commissioner Hellman, thoughts on this project?
I agree with my fellow commissioners, but I also really love the extra landscaping that you're adding, especially if you're on the patio enjoying the beer tasting. It gives it that sense of isolation, a really unique space, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Canaday, thoughts on this?
I really love the look of it, so I think it's a great addition.
Vice Chair Rothrock, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it has a terrific look, and I think its location close to the new city hall is going to really pay off.
I also agree that this is a good addition. I would like to echo the thoughts on the landscaping especially. I also want to say that I think that this is helping with something that we don't talk about enough, which is the need to make our city more walkable. And part of making a more walkable city is having places that are worth walking to, and places where you might hang out in front of and have more people outdoors. It's always very sad to drive around and see absolutely no one outside. And I know that we have a couple of months a year where outside is pretty oppressive, but the rest of the time we have really nice weather. And I'm hoping that your new facility will inspire more people to spend time outside, walking around on the sidewalk, and help make our city a little more walkable. And with that, I move to approve DR-26-001 for a tasting room with accessory beverage brewing, subject to the stipulations indicated in the staff report. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimously carried. Congratulations. Next up, we have Z-26-003, request for a zone change from R1 to R3.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commission, Tina Hayden with Senior Planner, presenting on a zone change application for Cottonwood Apartments on Mingus Avenue. The request tonight is just the zone change, a recommendation of approval to council to rezone from R1 single-family residential to R3 multiple-family residential. We ask that you consider the applicant's submittal, the staff report with recommended stipulations, and this is a public hearing process. Breakdown of the site. First, areas highlighted in blue here. Please note the north arrow, Mingus Avenue here. Property is zoned R1 single-family residential, just like the properties to the south here. Everything to the east, west, and north is R3 multiple-family residential. There is multifamily residential here and here, as well as across the street, there's a mix of single and multifamily residential, and again, single family to the south here. The parcel itself is about 3.34 acres. It is in design, the design of the site is in preliminary phases. We're not showing that tonight. Applicant would propose around 96 units. That's the max density that this site would allow, of 29 units per acre. There is consideration of a development agreement for affordable housing to possibly allow for a density bonus. Those are still in discussion. That would go through to council in the form of a development agreement if it was to take place. Per state law, the zone change has to comply with what's in the general plan. The current land use designation in the general plan is HR, high density residential, which does support the zone change to the R3 zoning district. So there is no general plan amendment required for this site. Applicant was required to hold that neighborhood meeting. Owners of property within 300 feet were notified of the neighborhood meeting and the public hearings both tonight and next month for council. At that meeting, we did have, I believe, 3 members of the public attend. They voiced concerns regarding the building height. Applicant is proposing 3 stories, 35 feet in height. There are additional processes that would take place at that for those heights. They have concerns about increased density. Again, this is the max density, 29 units per acre. But if we're doing affordable housing, the city can allow a density bonus increase. They also were concerned about adequate screening, especially along the southern border here, adjacent to the single-family residence. There is no design review application associated with this, so I don't have, I believe in your packet, you have some preliminary design plans. Again, those are subject to change. I'm just going to get into the site adjacencies and current site conditions. So here we're just looking at adjacent sites. Please note my north arrow here. The top photos here are on the other side of Mingus. So we do have some multifamily residential and a mix of single-family residences as well to the north. Then here we're looking eastward. There's additional, I think it's the Cypress Gardens multifamily residential project there. And then to the south, you can see those various single-family residences there. Looking at adjacent streets here, this is Mingus here, 10th Street here. So you can see some additional multifamily residential kind of catty corner to this site, along with Mingus here. On the bottom one, we're looking towards Maine. We're on Mingus looking towards Maine. Couple things I'd like to note is I have additional photos to talk about the grade here to showcase that for you. But this is really just a street view. Again, you can see some adjacent single-family residence there. And then onto the subject site. So the 2 photos on the left here, looking at the north arrow here. Here we're looking westward. The top photo we're looking eastward. So you can see that subtle grade change as we head westward. It rises higher, and then it dips into a drainage area. And then the 2 photos here on the right, these are to the rear of the, this top right one is to the rear of the property. You can see some adjacent multifamily residential there. All the existing buildings on site will be removed to make room for the apartment complex that's being designed. This bottom right one here, we're looking off towards Mingus. This is a public hearing process, so staff is here as well as the applicant to answer any questions you have. You just call us up if you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Tina. Commissioners, are there any questions for staff before we move into the public part of the hearing? Commissioner Garrison, please go ahead.
We didn't get like a topographical is, as you showed in pictures and you mentioned, there's a pretty significant height gain between Mingus Avenue and the site. Is that expected to drop, or, you know, the church, the old church, the Westcott Funeral Home sits on a kind of a mound of sorts, you know, is that expected to be dropped? Do you know what's going to happen with the elevation, I guess, is?
Thank you for that, Commissioner Garrison. And I might actually defer the majority of that question to the applicant. Just on the preliminary plans, I believe there is an existing driveway here that we all know about. They are trying to propose a secondary driveway in this area as well, so that might affect the grading. We're in a preliminary stage, so that may be subject to change.
Okay, and the second question I had is, I'm seeing a 30-foot offset from, I would expect, what would be fairly close, if not the back of sidewalk, it'd be fairly close to the back of sidewalk. Is that a call out by land use, or is there a different reason why we've got a 30-foot front setback? And what would it take to possibly narrow that up to move this whole development closer to Mingus Avenue?
Thank you for that, Commissioner Garrison. Are you referring to the supplemental site plan that was in the packet? Is that correct?
Well, I'm looking at probably 2 pages down from what you're looking at is just the site plan with the buildings on it.
Okay.
And when I was looking at it earlier, that landscape area between the parking and what would be the property line is 30 feet. And I'm just wondering if there's a possibility that the applicant would be willing to do that, would we be able to move this whole project north?
Thank you for that, Commissioner Garrison. The landscape yard, I believe they're required to have a 15-foot landscape yard, maximum 10-foot minimum. I'll have to double check the zoning ordinance on that. I think because of the grading, they were a little hesitant to bring the building further north. And again, I'd defer the rest of that question to the applicant and if they're willing to modify.
Thank you.
Commissioner Camilla, questions for staff?
No, not this time, thank you.
Commissioner Glasscock, questions for staff?
No questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Hellman, questions for staff? Okay. Commissioner Candidate, questions for staff?
So this catch basin on the northwest corner, that's the drainage? That's how you're addressing the drainage?
Thank you for that, Commissioner Kennedy. That's existing drainage at this time. From what I recall during the code review board meeting, the city engineer would require a drainage report on this to confirm if there's any additional development is going to be needed to address drainage. So that was something addressed by the city engineer as a requirement.
And are there storm drains on Mingus in that area?
Thank you for that, Commissioner Kennedy. I will double check with the city engineer on that. I believe that they run there with that drainage area. I believe it runs under Mingus. It's my understanding. I don't know if it's reflected in the attached code review board comments. This is an item, right now we're just doing the zone change. As it comes to design review, we'll continue to address the drainage concerns, especially with that report being required.
Vice Chair Rothrock, questions for staff?
The drainage, I believe, runs under 11th Street and on down the hill. I'm disappointed to see a 3-story building going in an area where there's only 2-story at the most, or single-family homes. It just doesn't seem like a very good fit to me.
did you have any further questions?
No.
All right, I don't have any questions for you, Tina. Thank you very much. At this point, we are opening the floor to the public. This is a public hearing. If anyone has any comments regarding this project, please come forward, speak your name into the microphone for the record. And there's also a form to fill out.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Marla Holquist, and I have big concerns, as well as many of the people that are on Ash Drive also. There were many people here tonight that had to leave for other reasons, and so I'm here to speak in behalf of some of them. One of the issues is that that property is much higher off Mingus. And I know you said there are two-story apartments there, but if you look to the west, the 2 stories that are there are way down. So even the 3 stories are going to be looking down on 2 stories that are to the west. To the south, we have all single-family residences there, and these 3-story apartments are going to be looking into people's backyards and into people's homes. To the east, we have duplexes that are 1 story, and they're all multi-family, but they're very nicely done, and they fit into the neighborhood very nicely. And then I think across the street, there might be some multi-family, but they're also single-story. We are all concerned of the impact that this is going to create. Putting 99 units in there is a lot for a 3.34 acre property. We're concerned about the lights that are going to be in the parking lots. We're concerned about the parking that is going to be going right up to the fences. We're also concerned because they talked about putting the fence in the easement that runs along the back of the properties. We're concerned about the amount of people, dogs, noise, and just multiple things. And it's just going to not improve the neighborhood, we don't believe. And we would like to, I do know that you do have to have more housing and more residences, but the impact of 3 stories, I could see a nice 2-story, nicely done. There is one at the west area, very nicely done, and I just hesitate to see a building that looks like a barrack go in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public? Yes, please come forward and introduce your name into the record.
Hi, good evening. We're Jim and Sherry Mueller, and we actually live directly east of the funeral home in a brand new build from about 2 years ago. It's a single-family home. And so the concept of having 96 units next to a single-family home that we've come to love here after moving to the community a year and a half ago, the quietness of, even though we're directly on Mingus, still the quietness of the neighborhood, I can see the need. We both see the need within the community for additional housing. But we also have a property, as our previous speaker, that sits actually above our home that we live in now. So to build upon that with a 3-story building, it just big concern for us being next door. Anyone that lives on Mingus knows the traffic. Adding 96 more units into a space that's already traffic congested in front of our home. It isn't monitored very often for speed. So all of that plays into our concern living directly next door to what's being proposed.
Yeah. Jim Mueller, thanks for the opportunity, by the way. Those 3 bullets at the bottom, there are our concerns. The height, the density, screening, I think that applies to the tenants, I believe. Didn't think of that one. But we have probably the quietest neighbor you could think of, the funeral home. and so we're a bit spoiled. But, you know, it just seems like it's going to ruin that corner up there. In fact, we back up. We are at the home right on Mingus, and then just to the right of us, just to the west of us, is their parking lot. So it'll be really tight. We'll be right on top of those guys. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on this project? Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Oliver Dannerin. I own a property that abuts the property in question here. And I'm concerned about the density also. 99 units is what they told me at the last meeting that they wanted to put in there. I think that's entirely too many for 3-point-something acres. And they wanted to wrap a parking lot for that building all around just behind my property. And that's going to involve the movement of many cars, 99 units. That's at 2 cars apiece is a lot of traffic. And it's going to be lit. That much I know. Not only by the car lights themselves, which will be shining right into the fence that separates me from them, but there's going to be the permanent lighting in the parking lot. It's going to change the entire character of the neighborhood. And it's quite a nice neighborhood now. And I really do not want to see that density of housing for that property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward to speak at this public hearing regarding this proposed zone change? All right, I am not seeing anyone else come forward at this time. So I am closing the floor to the public. And now we would like, if the applicant is present, for the applicant or applicant's representative to come forward. Introduce yourself for the record and please provide us with an introduction to your project. You may also respond to any questions, although we will not have a back and forth.
Thank you very much. My name is Marty Hall. I represent the applicant. And I'd first like to thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. And I'd also like to thank the Director of Planning. She's been very helpful to us and very much appreciative for the time she's provided for us in doing so. And also, I want to express my appreciation for the neighbors who showed up here this evening. We had the opportunity to speak before them during the neighborhood meeting, very much aware of their concerns. I would like to point out that tonight is a rezoning hearing, and you may have noticed that maybe in your packets, the submittal that we brought to your attention, the site plan and exterior elevations, is a proposal subject to all kinds of changes. We had the opportunity to address some of their concerns regarding the traffic. We felt when we spent time with the architect, who will be speaking before you again this evening as well, we took everything into consideration. The land use general plan for this site is HR, which is high density residential. So we started with that as a framework by which to entertain how we're going to develop this property. And what we submitted, is, based on our understanding, is it meets every code that exists for R3 regarding side yard setbacks, regarding the existing storm drains. There's a significant storm drain facility that I believe the city actually funded and developed some years ago that's rather significant. And yes, indeed, it goes underneath East Mingus. And that consumes probably about 1/3 of an acre. We decided from the parking standpoint, we wanted to separate the buildings as far away from our neighbors as possible. To the east and the west, we have multifamily residential. One project is single story, the other project is 2 stories. I'm talking about grading, by the way. The grade of the site indeed does sit up above East Mingus, maybe I'm going to guess 7-8 feet. The properties to the south, which is single-family residential, are also on the same grade as this particular site. The multifamily residential project, that is a two-story apartment complex next door to the west, I believe that is, it so happens that it does sit down at a lower grade. I don't know what the history is of this site is, but I'm assuming at one point in time that may have been the natural terrain. I don't believe there was any significant grading done in order to achieve that. And to address one of the inquiries with regards to grading, that has not been a consideration this time, going to that expense and doing a serious grade adjustment in order to achieve what we're hoping to set out to do. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass it on to Monica Perez, who's the site planner and architect we've been working with, to bring to your attention her understanding of the project.
Welcome, Monica Perez. Please introduce yourself for the record yourself and talk about the project a little bit from the architectural standpoint.
Good evening, Chairperson and Commission members. My name is Monica Perez. My firm is the one who designed the current site that you've seen, taking into consideration location, current environment, use, as well as the needs of the city of Cottonwood, and of course budget. So with that said, we did have the opportunity to speak to some of these owners at the last meeting. We appreciate their involvement this early in the game because, as Marty mentioned, there is opportunity for adjustments. There's opportunity for making arrangements that's going to accommodate them. Thankfully, there's only 6 private property owners along the south end that we can hopefully accommodate, and we can work together and come to some type of compromise in regards to a buffer. And I just want to hit a couple of points here that were mentioned, and the 3 bullet points here as well. Marty already touched on the topography. Unfortunately, we don't have any, well, we could if we wanted to go ahead and grade the whole lot, but that's not feasible for a project of this size. If we talk about parking, the parking creates the buffer around the building. And just to give you an idea of the distance from one of the south residences to the actual new proposed building, we're looking at approximately 70 feet. So if we think about the property line, think about the 10-foot easement, a 20-foot parking space, a 26-foot driveway, another 20-foot parking space, a 5-foot sidewalk, a 10-foot buffer, a 2-foot buffer, and then the building. That's approximately 70 feet away. And that's again around the perimeter of the 3 sides because the north side is Mingus. So to give you an idea, I think that's a pretty good buffer. In regards to, again, some good points would be lighting. The other points would be sound. So what we are proposing, again, is going to be the block wall around the perimeter along with landscaping. And during our own efforts, we've also done our own small exhibits that show headlights. We want to make sure that headlights aren't going to interfere and go into the properties along that south end, and a 4 to 5 foot tree shrub would actually take care of that. However, we're proposing to go in for an 8-foot tall fence along that end, either 6 to 8, in regards to block, as well as in addition to some landscaping. So again, not only do we want to accommodate sight, but we also want to accommodate sound as well. In regards to lighting and the building height, we are not exceeding the allowed building height. We do happen to have 3 stories, but if we were 2 stories, we would still be allowed to meet the current height that we're proposing. And in regards to lighting for that, what we're proposing is shielded screen lighting, down lighting. We are aware that there are properties back there, and we are going to take that into consideration because not only is it code compliant, but again, we've heard the public, and we want to address their needs and concerns. Other than that, in regards to quantity, again, we're open. Right now, we're looking into elderly, we're looking to workforce. Affordability is on the table as well. We understand that that's going to be, in order for us to meet this density, we might have to take that option, but if we don't, then that density will decrease. So we're aware of that as well.
All right, Commissioners, now's your opportunity to ask the applicant representatives questions about the project. Commissioner Garrison, any questions? All right, Commissioner Camilla, any questions? Commissioner Glasgow on Zoom, any questions?
No.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hellman, questions?
No question.
Thank you. Commissioner Canaday, any questions?
No questions.
Vice Chair Rothrock, questions for the applicants?
No questions.
I do. One of the concerns that we heard was about an easement. This might be a better question for staff, but can you speak on that? Are you within an easement in the fence line?
So we are not building within the easement. We are going to be placing a fence line because the easement is actually on both properties. I believe it's on the private property as well as our property. So there currently is a fence there now. It happens to be a chain link fence, I believe, is what it is. So we are proposing a block fence. We're not proposing a structure, and then we'll have our landscaping buffer and then our parking space. So the only thing is we're replacing the existing fence with a block fence. And we do understand that structure, it's not structure, but that fence, in the event that the city needs to come and access that area, it's our responsibility to replace it in the event that they need to access utility easement. But an actual structure will not be constructed there.
All right. That was my main question. I feel like in the course of your presentation, you answered most of the questions. Thank you very much.
I'd like to also add that you may see in the proposal that we're also suggesting a secondary ingress and egress access into the project as well, because we're also very sensitive to traffic and the circulation of how the site is going to function as far as vehicular access. So we feel that would be a value add to what we're proposing.
Yeah.
And there is a center turning lane there currently.
Thank you very much. I have a quick question for staff. If staff could come forward.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will let the commission bother you with questions as well, but my quick question was, so this then would not need, if the zoning change is approved, a conditional use permit for height, or is this the only requirement, is the zoning change?
Thank you for that, Chairwoman Maston. The zoning ordinance indicates that a conditional use permit would be required if the building height were to exceed 35 feet or 2.5 stories. With the applicant proposing 3 stories, they would need to pursue a conditional use permit. It may also be required if they want to exceed their sign package, or there's a couple other provisions in the code that might trigger a conditional use permit process.
And our code changed recently, so I'm not sure, would that also trigger a design review, or is that no design review?
Madam Chair, thank you. Design review would be required, and we're in the preliminary phase where they've gone to code review board meeting once. Staff has recommended additional before proceeding to design review. They also wanted to get the entitlements with the zone change in place before they proceeded.
All right. Do any of the other commissioners have questions for staff? Please go ahead.
So mine is procedural, basically, leaping off of what you asked. So that would mean that if the zoning change is approved tonight, would the design review or the conditional use permit come back to this commission so that the public would have an opportunity to comment on it? Or would it go through facilitate the new, I don't know what, the new A.R.S. statute or whatever that was put in place?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Hellman. If a conditional use permit submittal is required, that is a public hearing process that would go before the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're all very well aware of HB 2447, which indicates a requirement for administrative approval of design review. I believe we showed you the flow chart, and that if the project conforms to our new design standards that we expect to be in effect mid-April, then there's no need to go before the commission. If they do choose to deviate from the standards and not have a development agreement in place, they are welcome to request in writing the request to go before the commission.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Kennedy? Questions for staff?
No.
Vice Chair? All right. I don't have any more questions. I got mine first. Thank you very much, Tina. At this time, I open the floor to the commission to discuss this project. What are your thoughts on this, Commissioner Garrison?
So I guess I misunderstood a little bit, that we weren't necessarily dealing with design review at this point. I think by the questions we asked and by the comments that came from the public, I think you can see that there will be a lot of attention paid to whatever design you bring forward. So I would take that into account. I'm perfectly fine with the change in the zoning. I think we can use more high density, especially in this area. It's a great use of this property, especially in its relation to the city facilities as well as the school. And once again, back to a walkable neighborhood. This does put it into that path also of making it much more walk-friendly for the residents that would use this space. I also have concerns with the high density or this high of a density, mostly because it's 3-story. I do have some concerns about the visibility of the yards and the privacy of the people that live around this project. Once again, back to grading, I think a lot of those concerns could be taken care of by some creative grading on this site. I think trying to put a second driveway in, the first driveway is already very steep as it is. The second one's going to be even worse. So I think, you're going to have some real challenges when it comes to how you place these buildings and come back with the design. But as far as the purpose of this hearing, which is to approve high density, I'm fully in favor of that.
Please go ahead, Commissioner Camilla.
I'll echo a lot of the same thing my fellow commissioner said. I think the biggest thing it's going to come down to is once the design and the review, and then we make sure that it's not imposing on those neighbors. So echo a lot of the same sentiments that we had. Thank you.
Commissioner Glasscott, any thoughts?
No, just the same thing he said. I mean, I approve the zoning change, but, look forward to seeing what kind of changes they might address, the concerns of the neighbors and whatnot.
Commissioner Hellman, thoughts you'd like to share on this project?
No thoughts, thanks.
All right. Commissioner Canaday?
I would tend to disagree. I feel like there's another project that was put into a similar neighborhood, and if you drive by that particular project now, I think it does all of the things that these people are addressing. I think that the third-story person is looking down into their yards and into their bedrooms practically. I realize it's in keeping with the general plan and the concept of zoning in that area, but I think that there could be, I just don't know. I don't think that it's a good use with that high of density.
Vice Chair Rothrock, thoughts?
It's too much. There's nowhere near there where there's a 3-story building, a 3-story property. So I don't think that's appropriate for this neighborhood. It's too much too soon, in my opinion. You already can't, I use 10th Street to access going further to the west or north a lot, and you can barely pull out from 10th Street on Dominguez now. So I don't believe that what's being proposed is correct or right for that neighborhood.
So my thoughts on this project, it's going to be a little bit repetitive, but I want to point out that this is an unusual opportunity for these applicants to revise their site plan and their elevations to be more in keeping with what the neighbors of these proposed project are concerned about, and also the commission. Tonight, we are only voting on the zoning, and it's very important that the commissioners only vote on the rezoning, although we were shown a little bit more than that. You have to remember as a commission that, and this is nothing in particular about this project or the applicant, but sometimes zoning changes and particular projects don't move forward, but the zoning change is still appropriate per the general plan and per other changes that have been voted on by the public. This project or any similar project on this site that wants to hit 3 stories or hit those various targets that require a conditional use permit will come back before the commission. And that will be an opportunity at that point to vote on those facets of the project. But tonight, we are tasked to vote exclusively on the zone change from R1 to R3 for this parcel. And with that, I am going to go ahead and make a motion unless any of the commissioners have further thoughts they'd like to share. All right, I'm not hearing anyone, not getting any meaningful eye contact. I move to recommend approval to council for Z-26-003 for a zone change to the R3 multiple family residential zoning district. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Glasscott. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All those against?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That is, let me count. 5 to 2. There. I'm always trying to hear everyone. 5 to 2, carried. I encourage the applicant to take this feedback seriously. And with that, I believe we do not have any discussion items this evening. Are there any suggested topics for future meetings amongst the commission? Meetings I will not have to do, so please discuss whatever you want. All right, no discussion items suggested, no topics. I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.